Welcome to NocBro Nation.
What's up?
Hey guys, today we're here to give you some exciting and awesome Walking Dead news. Walking Dead news.
Yes, the show.
So, during New York City Comic Con, it was announced by Robert Kirkman that eventually, and actually the upcoming season of Fear the Walking Dead, which would be season 4, would have a crossover of the two shows, The Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead.
They didn't say which...
They didn't actually say
They didn't say
which
if
show.
a character... if a character from Walking Dead was going to Fear or vice versa. They just said... They called it Worlds Collide, that a character will cross over in either show.
Yeah. And what was actually revealed during Talking Dead after the episode of The King, the Widower, and Rick.
Yep.
So last Sunday's episode, who that individual would be that would cross over into Fear.
And it is... Drumroll, please.
Morgan! I'm blocking your face.
It's going to be Morgan, which is very interesting.
It's very interesting. So, let's clear the air here.
Yeah.
I picked up kind of just his mannerisms as he was talking on the show and how he was, what he took the most from this crossover so far, because he was actually on set when he was being interviewed by Chris Hardwick.
He was in Austin, Texas, which is where they're filming season 4.
He said
Fear the Walking Dead.
He had mentioned how one of the things that he missed the most was being with the cast of The Walking Dead. As we know, about a week ago, they actually wrapped up the season. They finished filming the season finale. We do know that Morgan was in that season finale. But kind of what I took away from his mannerisms during this interview is not good.
Yeah, he was kind of saying, he's going to miss the cast, and he says he's going to miss working with the excellent crew of The Walking Dead. So Josh is kind of picking up on it, meaning that possibly, maybe Morgan, yes, he filmed the finale, but maybe Morgan might be dying in The Walking Dead. In the finale, and then he'll have his crossover with Fear the Walking Dead, because the timeline with Fear and The Walking Dead are a little off by at least a few months, right?
Yeah. So before we get into that...
It's not really known the timeline, but it's kind of what we get to.
We'll talk about that, what we think is going to happen with the show. But I guess what I'm saying is...
I don't think he dies.
I think he absolutely does. He said in that interview that he said goodbye to the cast.
He said his goodbyes.
You're not saying goodbye to the cast if you're just going to see them in a few months anyway for filming of the next season.
Maybe.
I'm right. You know I'm right.
If you are right, I don't want to agree that you're right, because it's possible. Because saying your goodbyes is kind of, you're saying your goodbyes, your heartfelt goodbyes of normally when people get to find out that they're going to die in the show, they're going to say their goodbyes.
Now, Carol was also on The Talking Dead.
She was.
She said that she thought that the tears were over
until she saw
his face in the interview.
Yeah.
Again, this goes to my point.
Right.
Why would she cry if he wasn't leaving the cast permanently?
Right.
I truly think my prediction is that he does die in the finale, and there are a lot of Morgan fans.
Yeah.
Now, we know that the show kind of lost a lot of viewers when Glenn died, and I think this is just a way for the show to keep those viewers with him transitioning over to Fear. Just my opinion.
And the biggest thing, I guess, with me is For me, I have to know, it's like I'm wanting to know where this timeline fits in. Because, so, where we are right now with The Walking Dead and where Morgan's character is. Now, I thought how kind of Morgan walked off in the two episodes ago, that could lead into maybe his crossing over. But
too much time.
It's too much time.
Yeah, we're at least a couple years into the apocalypse now.
Right. But kind of
in
like
The Walking Dead, and we're only months into it in Fear.
Yeah, we're only months into it in Fear. So kind of what I've heard from speculation is that where kind of season 2 of Fear the Walking Dead, where that timeline is, that's roughly by the mid or end of season 2 is when Rick initially begins to wake up from his coma. Supposedly.
That wouldn't make sense. Because that's when he meets Morgan.
Right.
So he can't be in two places
at
once.
So I'm thinking that timeline is they're counting the episodes of the shows to the episode,
Yeah,
the beginning
so
of The Walking
let's
Dead,
give
not
a-
a true timeline.
Let's give a little bit background from the show and the comic. So, because these kind of match up. So, in the comic, Rick is in his coma, and when he awakes from his coma, he meets Morgan and his son Dwayne, who then proceed to tell him the details of the outbreak. That it had happened we know over a month ago is what was said in the comic as well as the show, right?
Right. Mm-hmm. Yep. So
if we're led to believe that,
right,
it would almost make sense that if they were to do it early in season 4, that maybe they would meet up with Morgan pre-meeting Rick.
Right.
Now, in the comic, we know that takes place in Cynthia, Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
However, much of the show actually takes place in
Georgia,
in Atlanta.
Yeah.
So that's my problem that I have with this is the Fear cast at the point of the show is on the border of Texas.
Right. They were in kind of western, in California. They've gone down to Mexico. Now they're on the border. Yeah, so they're going to be supposedly where it's heading is Houston, possibly.
Yeah. So that is a huge gap in mileage between where Morgan meets Rick and where Fear is currently at, with not much time frame.
Right. Because even in the comic, we really don't know, and even in the show, we really don't know where Morgan is originally from.
We do not.
It's in the comic he is potentially from Cynthia, Kentucky, but it's not
assumed.
It's assumed.
He was traveling.
He was
through
traveling
there
through there, with his son. So we don't know exactly where Morgan's origin, where he really comes from, to try to figure out this timeline and time frame of in the show where Fear the Walking Dead is. Even though they are filming in Austin, Texas, which. That's where it's leading in season 4. They were going to Houston in a sense. Yeah. Most of the characters, not all of them, but anyway.
That's a long way to go.
It's a long way to go from Texas to Georgia. So,
yeah. I mean,
or vice versa.
Look, it's early in the outbreak. There's gas. There's probably cars. So theoretically, if Morgan was in Texas, he could easily get a car and drive to Atlanta in a day.
Day or so,
yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's not out of the realm for that time frame to happen, but it's just
us trying to process it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to fit it. Why would Morgan be in Texas?
Right, exactly.
And how they're going to fill that in.
Right. Of course, we hope they're going to tell us why he's there. Maybe we get some backstory. Morgan on TV wise, where he originally comes from, which doesn't line up with the comic. Not to say that it has to, but for the show,
and it doesn't have to, right?
No,
even if we get some backstory on Morgan, with Dwayne and his wife,
maybe his wife,
that's great. Again, it doesn't have to line up with the comic. They almost have to do something like that because of the distance between when he's there and when he meets Rick.
Yeah. So I'm excited for it.
I am too.
I really am. I'm hoping that Morgan does not meet his demise in the end of season 8.
It's gonna happen. Brace yourself.
It may happen the way that things are kind of leading, and how the actor has already mentioned he said his goodbyes and everything.
So let's do a quick fun little thing. A count of 3 real quick. Who was your second option? 1, 2, 3.
Abraham. Abraham, because we know that where season 4 is, being filmed and kind of where the show is going to Houston, that's actually where Abraham originally came from.
And that lined
Houston.
up perfect.
That lined up perfectly. And that was, I think, everyone's number 1 contender.
And it made sense too, because he's got that personality that makes a lot of the audience laugh with his one-liners,
right?
And I think it would have gained more popularity for Fear. Not saying that Morgan won't,
right?
But yeah.
Abraham was like number 1 choice for everyone.
Yeah.
I don't know if they said anybody else besides Abraham.
And who knows? Maybe they might sneak one in.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there was other characters that they kind of mentioned possibly.
Well, with Abraham, you get Rosita and Eugene.
Yeah, true.
Depending on when they picked up Eugene.
Right. Yeah, that's true. But
Which
Abraham was the
it
biggest.
slips me. But
Yeah.
anyway, let us know what you guys think. Your opinion on Morgan joining the cast of Fear the Walking Dead and the show. Let us know what you think is going to happen with Morgan this season.
And let us know if you guys have actually checked out Fear the Walking Dead. If you haven't, it is really great. It's a really cool aspect to see a different side of the country being affected, basically starting from the beginning of the outbreak.
Yeah.
It's a really cool show. There's awesome stuff going on in that show. We absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Anyway, but let us know what your thoughts are on Morgan joining the cast of Fear the Walking Dead, and stay tuned for any more updates on that. We'll let you know.
Yeah, definitely.
So anyway, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Stay tuned. We'll see you later. We're NocBro Nation, and we're
We're
out.
out.